Welcome back to the channel. Ready to explore some seriously mind-bending stuff.
Always. What have you got for us today?
Today we're taking a deep dive into Journey of Souls.
Dr. Michael Newton's work. Fascinating stuff.
Right. It's all about what happens between lives, in the spirit world.
Using deep hypnosis, he uncovered these incredible accounts from hundreds of people.
And it's wild how consistent their stories are, even coming from totally different backgrounds.
Exactly. It's not just speculation. It's like piecing together a map of the soul's journey based on their experiences.
A map of the soul's journey. That's a great way to put it. So let's follow that map from the very beginning.
You mean the moment of death?
Yeah, that transition.
Okay.
What did people actually experience when leaving their bodies?
Well, many describe a pulling sensation.
Like being pulled away.
Exactly. Gently drawn away from their bodies. And the thing is, there's not much fear or sadness.
Really?
Yeah, instead there's peace, a sense of anticipation even.
Huh. That's surprising. You'd think death would be terrifying.
You'd think so, right? But it sounds more like a release.
What about that tunnel of light? The one everyone talks about in near-death experiences.
Oh, definitely. Lots of people describe traveling through a tunnel filled with these comforting vibrations.
Vibrations.
Yeah, and like musical sounds. And they feel guided towards something big.
It's like a bridge, right, between here and the spirit world.
Exactly.
Makes you wonder if maybe deep down a part of us remembers that journey. But what's it actually like once we get to the other side?
Tranquil. That's the word that comes up a lot.
Peaceful.
Beyond peaceful. And communication is instant, purely thought-based.
Whoa, like telepathy.
On a whole other level. No misunderstandings, no limitations of language.
Wow. That makes sense though, right?
Yeah.
If we're pure energy in the spirit world, communication would have to be energetic too.
Right. But even so, arriving there must still be disorienting at first.
I can imagine. So what happens?
Well, this is the beautiful part. You're greeted by loved ones, those who've passed before you. Ah, that's nice. Like a welcoming committee.
Exactly. They're there to reassure you, make you feel at home.
That would be so comforting. So, do we appear as we did in our last life?
It's things we can choose.
Choose our appearance.
Yeah, a form that'll be familiar to others.
Makes sense. It's all about connection there. But what about those who don't seem to make it to the spirit world?
You mean the displaced souls?
Yeah, Dr. Newton talks about them. What's their story?
Well, some, especially those who experienced trauma or had really strong attachments here,
You get stuck.
they linger in the Earth's astral plane. Can't seem to move on.
Is it like a punishment?
No punishment. It's not like hell or anything. More like they're in limbo.
So how do they get unstuck?
Eventually, they receive help. Guidance from more advanced souls, often spirit guides,
Guides, like they come and get them.
gently guide them towards the light, help them release whatever's holding them back.
So there's still support, even in the afterlife.
Absolutely. No one's truly alone on their journey. That's reassuring. Now let's talk about those who have transitioned. Dr. Newton mentioned soul groups and guides, right? Can you explain that a bit more?
Soul groups are clusters of souls. They're at similar levels of development, and they learn and evolve together.
So like your soul family.
Your closest companions on this grand journey.
Wow. And they stick with you through multiple lifetimes.
Through it all, offering unconditional love and honest feedback.
That's beautiful. What about spirit guides then?
Think of them as your wise mentors, always there to guide you.
Like personal life coaches for the soul.
Exactly. They help you choose your path, learn from your experiences, and ultimately get closer to the source of creation.
So do we only have one guide? Or do they change?
It seems we usually have a primary guide who's always with us.
And then others that come and go as needed?
You got it. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Sometimes guides choose to incarnate with their students.
Wait, they're born as humans too?
Yep. One case even mentioned a guide being born as the subject's brother.
Whoa, that's wild. Like, what if people in our lives are actually our guides and we don't even know?
It makes you think, right? But let's move on to the progression of the soul. Dr. Newton described 5 levels of soul development.
5 levels, like, are we talking spiritual ranks?
Think of it as a progression of capabilities, wisdom, and responsibility.
So you start at level 1 and work your way up.
Level 1 souls are the newest, still learning the ropes.
And then level 5 is like the ultimate guru.
Level 5 souls are highly evolved, often becoming guides themselves.
So what's it like to reach level 4, that turning point where you become a guide?
It's a huge step. It means you truly understand the spirit world, reincarnation, and the whole human experience.
And then you dedicate yourself to helping others.
Exactly, guiding them on their own paths. But let's back up for a second. What about the very beginning? Where do souls even come from?
Yeah, good point.
Well, Dr. Newton talks about soul creation centers,
Soul creation centers,
places where new souls are formed from pure energy.
like a cosmic soul nursery.
Exactly. They're infused with the potential to grow and evolve.
Okay, that's mind-blowing. But what about the one thing? What's that all about?
The one is the ultimate source of everything, all souls, everything in existence.
Like the big boss.
The ultimate creative force, the divine essence. It's a concept found in lots of different spiritual traditions, the idea that we're all connected to this one source.
So how do we, as individual souls, tap into that?
That's the big question, right? But maybe Dr. Newton's research gives us a clue. By exploring our own souls, uncovering those hidden memories and experiences,
We can find that connection.
maybe we can start to glimpse that divine spark within each of us.
That's a powerful thought. But let's get back to the journey. Dr. Newton talked about 3 different spheres of experience in the spirit world.
Right. The world without ego, the world of altered time, and the world of all-knowing.
3 different worlds. Okay, break those down for me.
Think of them as different levels of experience and understanding. The world without ego is where souls shed their individual identities.
They lose their sense of self.
They merge back into oneness, pure consciousness.
Whoa, a total reset.
A return to the source. Then there's the world of altered time.
What happens there?
Time becomes fluid, souls can revisit past lives, explore potential futures.
Like change the past or see the future?
Not exactly. It's more about studying choices and their consequences, developing wisdom.
Oh, so like a cosmic learning tool.
Exactly. Now, there was this one case where a subject actually practiced creation on a simulated planet.
What? A simulated planet?
Yeah, they were able to manipulate energy and matter, experiment with creation on a small scale.
That's crazy. So we have the potential to create.
It seems so. It makes you question the nature of reality itself.
No kidding. Okay, what about the last one? The world of all-knowing.
That's the realm of ultimate wisdom, where souls access the entirety of knowledge and experience.
So like if you get there, you know everything.
It's the culmination of the soul's journey, a state of enlightenment. It's almost impossible to grasp from our perspective here.
Yeah, that was going to take some serious contemplation. But hey, maybe we're on the right track by diving into this stuff.
Every journey begins with a single step.
True that. Now, before we move on, you mentioned a soul who had a past life on another planet.
Oh yeah, that one's fascinating. They had this memory of living on a dying alien world.
Wait, so we're not just talking human lives here.
Apparently not. This person even met another soul on Earth who shared that same memory from that same alien planet.
No way. So our souls could have experiences beyond Earth, even beyond what we understand as the universe.
It challenges everything we think we know about the soul's journey, that's for sure.
Okay, I need a minute to process this. But before we go down that rabbit hole, let's talk about choosing a new life. How does a soul go from being in the spirit world to being back here in a physical body?
Dr. Newton calls it life selection. Souls get to preview potential lives and choose their experiences.
Hold on, so we get to choose, like pick and choose the life we want.
Imagine a giant hall with holographic projections of different lives. You can explore each one, see the details, location, family, challenges, everything.
So like a cosmic menu of lives.
More like a cosmic dating app. You're looking for the best match for your soul's evolution.
Okay, this is blowing my mind. But how do we even choose? What factors do we consider?
Everything. Location, family dynamics, physical attributes, and most importantly, the lessons you want to learn.
So it's not about picking an easy life, it's about finding the one that'll help us grow. But what about those who choose difficult lives? Dr. Newton mentions souls volunteering for hardship, even pre-planned deaths. Why would anyone do that?
Sometimes those challenging lives offer the biggest opportunities for growth. Think about it. Overcoming adversity builds strength, compassion, understanding.
So it's not a punishment, it's a choice. But what about free will? If we choose our lives beforehand, are we just following a script?
That's a great question. It seems we do have free will, but it operates within the framework of that pre-chosen life.
So like choosing a play to act in, we pick the role, but we still have freedom in how we play it.
That's a good analogy. We have agency, even within a predetermined structure.
Okay, that makes sense. But tell me more about this life selection process. You mentioned something called the Ring of Destiny.
Picture this. A circular chamber where you can view potential lives like holographic projections. You can fast forward, rewind, zoom in, really explore every detail.
Yeah, like having a cosmic remote control for life. But how do we actually make the choice? What happens when we find the life that feels right?
You make a commitment, a soul contract, to embark on that journey.
So it's like signing on the dotted line for cosmic adventure.
Exactly.
Do we get to see how our life ends too?
Not always. The focus is usually on the experiences and lessons. But sometimes, if a soul chooses a life that ends early, they might see that as part of the plan.
Wow. So what about the actual transition? How does a soul go from the spirit world into a baby's body?
That's the final step.
Yeah.
Rebirth. It's a rapid descent from the spirit world into the baby's developing mind.
Like a shooting star landing in a mother's womb.
Beautiful imagery.
But when does the soul become conscious in the baby? Is it at birth?
It can happen at different stages of pregnancy, depending on the soul. Some souls merge with the baby's mind early on, others closer to birth.
So it's different for everyone.
Hmm.
But what's it like to be inside the womb? Can we remember that?
Some people have vague memories, a sense of peace and connection, but often fragmented and dreamlike.
Like a state of preconsciousness. But what about soulmates choosing to be reborn together? How do they recognize each other once they're back here, as humans?
That's where recognition signs come in. Souls often agree on specific cues, little things that'll help them find each other.
Like secret code words.
More like subtle triggers, a phrase, a scent, a song, even a look in someone's eyes. Anything that can spark that soul memory.
Wow, so those chance encounters might not be so random after all.
It makes you think, doesn't it? Maybe some of those inexplicable connections, those feelings of familiarity, are actually echoes of past lives.
Okay, now you're really making me think. What if we've already experienced some of these recognition signs ourselves?
That's a question worth pondering, isn't it? Maybe those seemingly random events actually hold a deeper meaning.
Definitely something to think about. And maybe, just maybe, those whispers from our soul are guiding us towards something extraordinary.
A dream, huh? That's interesting. Always fascinating how dreams can connect to our lives.
Yeah, well, years before I even met my wife, I had this crazy, vivid dream.
Oh, what happened?
I was in this, super crowded train station, and I saw this woman walking towards me.
Okay. Could you see her clearly?
Her face was kind of blurry,
Hmm.
but I felt like I knew her. Like, really knew her. It was so strange.
You felt a connection.
A strong one. And when I woke up, that feeling just stayed with me. Like, this woman from the dream was important somehow.
Sounds like your soul might have been giving you a heads up.
Maybe. And get this, years later, I'm at a train station for real, waiting for a friend.
Then?
I see her, the woman from my dream,
Yeah.
standing right there.
Wow. That's quite a recognition sign. What did you do?
I had to talk to her. I just felt this pull,
I can imagine.
We ended up talking for hours. It felt like we'd known each other forever.
Like those lifetimes we were talking about.
Exactly. And that chance meeting, well, that's how I met my wife.
That's a beautiful story. Really shows you how powerful those soul connections can be.
It does. It makes you wonder how many coincidences are actually something more.
Right. But let's get back to Dr. Newton for a bit. We were talking about how souls choose their lives.
And the Council of Elders, he mentioned them, right?
Yeah.
What are they all about?
They're these highly evolved souls, residing in a realm beyond the normal spirit world, closer to the source.
So even higher than the spirit world.
It seems so. They act as guides and mentors, making sure souls are choosing lives that align with their purpose.
So they have the final say in what life we choose.
Not exactly. It's more of a collaboration. They offer advice, wisdom, but ultimately the soul makes the choice.
So we do have a say in the matter.
Definitely. But here's something to think about. Why would a soul choose to be born into difficult circumstances?
Right, like with disabilities or into poverty. That's tough.
From what Dr. Newton observed, it's about growth. Those challenges can lead to some of the most profound lessons.
So it's not about punishment. It's about pushing ourselves to evolve.
Exactly. Building strength, empathy, understanding, things we might not learn in an easy life.
That's a pretty powerful way to look at it. What about those who die young?
Even those shorter lives often have a specific purpose. Sometimes it's about fulfilling a soul contract. Other times it's about impacting others.
Inspiring them to live more fully.
Exactly. Every life, no matter how long, has meaning.
It makes you realize there's a bigger picture at play.
And that time, as we see it, isn't really linear in the spirit world.
So we could be living multiple lives at once.
It's a possibility. And souls can revisit past lives to gain more understanding.
Wow, that's a lot to unpack. Can we choose to be born in the future?
It seems souls usually choose lives within a few centuries of their past one.
So it's about continuity, building on what we've already learned.
Exactly. But eventually, we all keep evolving, striving for that state of spiritual mastery
Until we're one with the source.
until we reach that ultimate unity.
But what happens then? What does that even mean?
That's the ultimate mystery, isn't it? A state of being beyond our comprehension.
Yeah, I'm gonna need some time to wrap my head around that one. But before we get too existential, I have to ask. All this soul group reincarnation stuff.
You're wondering if it's just a Western thing.
Yeah, does this resonate with other cultures and traditions?
Oh, absolutely. The idea of reincarnation, spiritual journeys, guidance, it's all there in cultures all over the world.
So it's not just some made-up idea. It's a universal concept.
It seems to tap into something fundamental about the human experience, that desire to understand life, death, and what it all means.
It is a lot to take in, that's for sure.
Hmm.
But it's pretty amazing stuff.
It is, but remember, this is just a starting point. Dr. Newton gives us a framework, but the real journey is personal.
We have to find our own truths.
Exactly. Listen to your soul, explore, and see what resonates with you.
Because ultimately, the journey is the destination.
Well said. It's about the experiences, the lessons, the connections we make along the way,
Embracing the mystery of it all.
and trusting that there's a greater purpose unfolding.
Even if we can't always see it.
Exactly.
It really is mind-boggling, isn't it? Like, what if those people we just feel instantly connected to?
You think they could be soulmates from past lives?
Yeah. It's like you meet someone and it feels like you've known them forever.
Dr. Newton's research really opens up those possibilities, doesn't it? These connections we make across lifetimes, they're not just random.
It's like our soul groups, those souls we keep encountering. They're part of our journey.
Absolutely. We learn and grow together, but it goes beyond just our soul group, too.
Right, like the guides and teachers.
Exactly. And even souls we've had strong connections with in past lives, maybe we've crossed paths before in different roles.
It's a whole network of souls, and we're all part of it.
We're all connected, playing our parts in this huge, interconnected tapestry of existence.
Wow, that is a big thought.
Yeah.
But let's bring it back down to earth for a sec. We were talking about those recognition signs before.
Those little cues that can spark past life memories.
Yeah, do you have any other examples from your research or maybe even your own life?
Oh, sure. One that comes to mind was this musician. He kept having this dream.
About music,
Yeah, he was playing a melody on the violin, but he couldn't quite remember the whole tune.
like a song stuck in his head but from a past life.
Maybe. And it really bothered him, this feeling of familiarity. Years later, he was in an antique shop looking through old sheet music.
And he found it.
He found the melody from his dream, and when he played it, it all came flooding back. Memories of a past life as a violinist in an orchestra.
That's amazing. Like the music unlocked a hidden part of himself.
It makes you wonder about those moments we all have, right? Deja vu, strange coincidences, those feelings that we can't quite explain.
Maybe they're not just random.
Maybe they're messages, whispers from our souls trying to tell us something.
So we should trust our gut feelings more.
Pay attention to those little nudges, those things that make you go, huh, that's weird.
Stay open to the possibility that there's more to life than we realize.
Exactly. Well, that about wraps up our deep dive into Journey of Souls.
It's been quite a journey. I think the biggest takeaway for me is death isn't the end.
It's more of a transition, a new beginning.
And our souls, they keep evolving through lifetime after lifetime until we reach that final union with the source.
It's a message of hope. No matter what challenges we face in this life, we're part of something bigger, something eternal.
And it's up to us to make the most of each lifetime, each experience, to learn, to grow, and to connect with those around us.
To embrace the journey with all its twists and turns.
Because who knows, maybe we'll see each other again on the other side.
Maybe sooner than we think.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the soul's journey. We'll see you next time, ready to explore more mysteries of the universe.